Well, this is News Desk. Thank you very much for your company. Now, Joy News is gathered is that fire is gutted the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Exactly what this is about, let's find out from the fire officer in the head of the fire office in Tamale, Douglas Query. Thanks for joining us here, Douglas.
Thank you.
Douglas, tell us more about this fire at the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Again?
Tell us more about the fire at the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Assistant Chief Fire Officer Douglas Koiri, Regional Fire Commander for the Northern Region. It was this morning about 8:30 when we had a distress call from the Tamale Teaching Hospital that there was a fire outbreak in that facility. And in 5 minutes, my men were at the scene. And within 5 minutes, we were able to bring the fire under control. The fire had involved the medical laboratory stores of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. One room involved. And after we have been able to control the fire, in about 10 minutes, we were able to extinguish the fire with minimal damage to property. No.
SEOP. Describe minimal damage to the facility.
Again?
I'm asking that you describe minimal damage to the facility. What do you mean by minimal damage?
When I say minimal damage, I say in the fire, you just scorch some of the items, the boxes of medication, just few of them, because we were there on time to be able to do that job, to control the fire before it extended. So the fire didn't extend beyond, it just scorched most of the items there. It did not even damage the items.
Well, we're going to get in touch with the Tamale Hospital to find out what they stored in the medical labs, what they kept in the medical lab stores. But what are some of the items that the fire service saw in this lab?
I would say, if I say laboratory stores, it means that there are medications that the laboratories use. Laboratory stores, I think it is basically some medicines, chemicals, and other things that will be used for. I'm not very sure.
Okay, now, let me put it this way. Do you know the kind of products that were kept in that store? In your bids to control the fire, what are you told?
Actually, I will not be able to know because, as I say, it's not been able to. The fire did not cause damage to property extensively. And I said some of the boxes were just scorched by the fire. And we saw some few things. I'm not having that technical knowledge about those medications unless the hospital authorities. But I can assure you that it's minimal damage.
Great. Do you have an idea what may have caused this small fire like you're describing?
Yeah, we cannot always immediately know the cause. But unless we do investigation in order to determine the cause of fire. And I believe today and tomorrow we'll be able to do that.
I see. Now, so what caution have you given the medical facility in order to avoid a repeat of the situation?
I'll tell you the truth that the hospital is a modern edifice, modern medical facility, one of the best, if not in West Africa. And they have all those fire safety measures put in place, like fire alarm systems, smoke detectors, all the exit points and all those that have been shown clearly. So when the fire did occur, the fire alarm system triggered, and there was alarm all over the whole hospital. Those who had to evacuate had to evacuate. And the medical authorities had to search for the fire. They saw the fire down there and called the fire service on time. They were not fighting the fire themselves. They were not fighting the fire themselves, even though they had something to fight the fire. But they immediately called the fire service first. And then we also responded promptly, and that is a very good result. That means that every facility must have those safety precautions, those safety materials that we will prescribe for you to put in place, like the smoke detectors and alarm system and other things that we will recommend for you. That hospital is having all the modern gadgets that we require to detect even fire. That's why we're able to. Yeah.
In spite of that, there was a fire at the hospital.
Yes.
My question is, the fire service, after having dealt with this, what word of caution or advice did you give the hospital based on what you had seen?
Yes, we have done a fire audit. We have done fire auditing there already, and we have a report for them. In spite of what they have, as I said, those things are there. You know, the whole hospital is with chemicals. And, you know, when you are dealing with chemicals, it is not always that maybe it's a human factor. It could also be a natural or chemical cause or reaction that could have triggered that fire. That's a probability. You know, dealing with medication of all sorts. And if maybe, let's say, I'm not saying that is the cause, but I'm saying that if there should be heat, those chemicals are likely to react. And it can result in a fire. It's not always a human factor alone that can bring about fire. There are other things, the causes of fires, and unless we go into the investigation, we'll not know.
I'm happy you have brought up the investigation again.
Yeah.
Because then, anytime we are told there is going to be an investigation and a report on what may have caused the fire will then be identified, we never hear of anything again. How do we even believe that we would have a report on the cause of fire at the Tamale Teaching Hospital in 2 days?
Yes, let me put it on record. The fire service don't share their, we don't share our report findings with the public. Our report findings have got a way. Even if you are an individual, you want a fire report, you have to pass through the proper channel in order to get it.
Even if it's a public property?
Yeah, if it is a public property, the whole report will go to the chief officer, and he is the only one who can. He is having the right to release reports. We don't have the right. So while even we do our investigations, we normally submit it to the appropriate quarters, and when it is good for the public consumption, then they will bring it out. We normally don't give up. I don't have the right to share any report with anybody because I have to forward it to the appropriate quarters. And if they have the right to, the chief officer have got a right to at least share that report with the public, but not us here, and not anybody anywhere. So normally that's why you cannot hear from us. Thank you.
We'll leave it here all the same. Thanks for your time too. ACFO Douglas Koyere is Regional Commander for the Fire Office in Tamale. But we'll stay with the Ghana National Fire Service because we understand also that they are short of fuel. Now, you know how important this commodity will be to the fire service. So over the telephone now is Prince Billy Anaglate. He speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service. Thank you very much for your time, Billy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Billy, tell us more about this fuel shortage you're experiencing as a service.
Come again?
I'm asking that you tell us more about this fuel shortage you're experiencing as a service.
Well, about the fuel situation that we have in the system, we have a quarterly provision that is made for all regional commanders, and then they also ensure that their districts are also given a part of that, money where they can run the system in terms of firefighting and other administrative work that they have to do. But you agree with me that firefighting, comprises of using the vehicle, using the pumps that are there. So a lot of fuel goes into firefighting. That is, when we have a lot of fires and it exceeds the provision or the budget that is made within the quarterly provision that is made for them. That is why at times the district officers at times complain of inadequate fuel for firefighting. The service always ensure that there is also a provision with the fuel stations locally, where even if the money allotted to these regional commanders is exhausted, the fuel stations will continue to give them fuel until
Billy, I don't understand something. So what exactly explains why you have had to resort to your plan B? Why? Haven't you received your money?
You are asking why we have to...
No, from the beginning. Let me start from the beginning, where you said that you're given quarterly allocations to deal with fuel challenges. Is that true?
Yes, it's a quarterly provision.
Okay, but what you haven't made clear is why you have this situation where you have had to resort to your plan B of going into an agreement with the fuel stations. Why do you have to do that?
You know, our system, you know, it's an emergency situation that we always try to resolve.
No, my point is, Billy,
yes,
one step at a time. My point is, it means you haven't received your quarterly allocations.
No, there are times that I agree that there are...
No, right now, not times. Right now, do you have your quarterly allocations for fuel?
Yes, exactly. Some of the regions has already gotten their
Which of the regions would have their quarterly allocations?
I do not have the list there, but
you in Accra, do you have your quarterly allocation?
Yes, exactly. Those in Accra have.
In the Ashanti region, do they have their quarterly allocation?
I will not be able to tell for the Ashanti region because I do not have the list here to know that those. You know, it is just a provision that they made that. Quarterly, they are given, you know, an allocation. I agree that there are times that there is a delay. That is why.
No, but Billy, relax. You can't tell me that you don't know which regions do not have their quarterly allocation yet, but you are able to tell me that because of that, you have asked them to go to fuel station ABC because you have an agreement with them. If you are able to tell those people that, then you know which regions do not have their quarterly allocations, and you should be able to share that. Unless, of course, Billy, you don't want to tell us the truth.
No, probably, maybe I am not making myself clear, or you are refusing to understand what I'm trying to say. I am saying, what I'm saying here is that what I want you to know, or the public to understand, is that because we know there might be a situation where even if all the regions have been given their full allocation on time, and yet they can exceed that because nobody will be able to determine how many fires that could be fought within the period.
Okay, Billy, what I am also saying is that I am not talking about the normal thing. I am not talking about the usual thing. What we hear now is the fact that the Ghana National Fire Service is faced with fuel shortage. And so I'm not talking about what you do usually. I'm talking about right now. Is it true that indeed you people are faced with fuel shortage? Is it because you do not have your quarterly allocations? For instance, in the northern region, we hear that you are faced with fuel shortage.
Well, that is what I'm saying. That
so are you telling me that you've had your quarterly allocation, but you have used it all already, even before the first quarter of the year ends?
Well, that is what I'm saying, that some of the regions have gotten theirs, but I will not be able to tell the situation.
Billy, you haven't answered the question. The question I'm asking is, so does it mean that you have received your quarterly allocation as an emergency service in the country, but you have used it already?
You see, you are not getting my answer as well. As a service, yes, we have received our quarterly allocation.
Okay, but you have used it.
Listen. I will not be able to tell for all the regions. Some of the regions might not have used all for now. They might not have exhausted it. But those regions that have frequent fires might be in the position this time to say that, yes, they have exhausted it. But it would not mean that all the regions have, exhausted their quarterly allocation. That is what I want to make clear. If the fire service as a whole have been, have gotten their quarterly allocation and they have distributed that to all the regions. It is not all the regions that will have exhausted their quarterly allocation as at now. Some might have done that because of the number of fires that they might be attending. So we should be clear on this aspect that you can't say that all the quarterly allocation in all the regions have been exhausted.
Billy, I'm also struggling to understand you indeed, because then, as far as I'm concerned, the money comes to the headquarters first. This allocation we are talking about comes to the headquarters first. Then the headquarters in turn distributes to the rest of the regions.
Exactly.
Now, if you tell me that you don't know which of the regions may have outused or finished their allocation, then it means that the headquarters does not check on these people.
Well, it is unfortunate that maybe probably you are missing one point. The point you are missing is that those things can be cross-checked on paper, but then it is the account department that deals with the regional commanders in terms of fuel allocation. What we know is that there is a provision made for all regional commanders in terms of fueling the vehicle and for administrative purposes. But I'm saying if a region has exhausted its fuel allocation, the plan B is in place to work with them. And
but you see, this plan B of yours is not free. You will pay for, which means that headquarters will keep account of those regions that have started resorting to plan B. And so, Billy, it comes to my point. It's either Billy does not want to share information with us right now or not. You tell us in Accra, you have your quarterly allocation. Okay, let's talk about Accra. Is your quarterly allocation finished or not?
Well, even in Accra that we are talking of, we have various districts. So if I should be talking about our regional headquarters here, where we have a district post that they also attend to fires here, I might be talking for this place because I am here. But I might not be able to talk for Medina. I might not be able to talk for Dansuma immediately as I'm here. I can only talk about those situations if I should call the district commander there to give me detailed situation over there. But I'm saying that even if they have exhausted the allocation given to them, it is not a challenge for firefighting. The plan B still is in place. We are talking of emergency situation. We want to have continuity in terms of firefighting. So we can't say that lack of fuel situation is hindering our firefighting. That is not the situation. We are only saying that that's why we need more fuel to fight fires. We have inadequate fuel that might not suffice within the period for which allocation is made. We will continue to have provisions and plans for firefighting. It will not stop us. We will not ground our vehicle because of lack of fuel.
Well, I think it's a good thing that we have the plan B. And so for all those areas that are resorting to plan B, we can boldly conclude, dare to conclude, that their quarterly allocations have been consumed because of the number of fire cases we've had.
Come again, I didn't get that.
I'm saying that it's a good thing that we have plan B, resorting to the agreement with the various fuel pumps or fuel stations. So it means that we can boldly conclude that for all those fire stations or fire areas that are resorting to plan B have consumed their quarterly allocations.
Yes, exactly.
Great. Now let's talk about this arrangement. Let's talk about this arrangement with the fuel stations. How many of these fuel stations in Ghana do you have an arrangement with?
Do we have a fuel arrangement with who?
No, you have a plan B, which is going to take the fuel from the fuel stations and then paying back later.
Exactly.
How many of these fuel stations or fuel companies do you have agreements with?
Well, this question is a difficult question for me to answer because this plan is a localized situation with the district commanders and the fuel stations within that locality. So it is not the service per se that has, or people, anybody from the headquarters that has gone to those localities or those districts to make this provision or this arrangement with the fuel station.
Okay.
It is those district commanders within their locality who has a very good relation with the fuel
Billy, what I'm asking is, these various fuel stations we find in any community at all belong to a particular company.
Exactly.
For instance, Goil. And so it doesn't matter where we find Goil. Once the fire service has an agreement with Goil, then at any point in time at all, any fire tender can go to Goil and get filled up. That's what I'm asking.
Well, but then I also want you to understand that it is not limited to Goil alone, because
I mentioned Goil. Yes, I mentioned Goil. So it is left for you to confirm. Billy, take your time. It's left for you to confirm that indeed Goil is one of the companies that the Ghana National Fire Service has an agreement with.
Yes, exactly. Goil, I was even thinking that maybe you have it. Goil, we have coupons. We use coupons in fueling our vehicles, and it is Goil coupons that we use in fueling our vehicles. Okay. But I'm saying that apart from Goil, where we have, a mutual agreement with that, maybe if we don't have the coupon, we can get in there to fuel our vehicles. It is not limited to Goil alone. You can go to Shell, because that local arrangement that I'm talking of, within whichever filling station is close or is within that locality, to have that pre-arranged condition with them, so that in case there is a fuel shortage or you have exhausted your provision in terms of firefighting, you can just get in it. So it's not only Goil. That's why the father.
That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. But let's talk about the Greater Accra region. Why you are? Okay. I want to believe you have the arrangement with Goil.
Yes, exactly.
Where you are, right?
We have arrangement with all Goil stations in Greater Accra region.
Which is fantastic, because then Goil is very much in the Greater Accra region.
Yeah.
Now, you have been resorting to your plan B for a while now. How much do you owe Goil?
Well, I will not be able to answer this question. How much? Even if we have even owe Goil, I will not be able to answer. These are some of the issues that I think probably the accountant, if we want to say those things, then we can refer to the accountant and pick those things. That is, even if we are owing Goil, I will not be able to say.
So you haven't used your plan B before, where you are, the headquarters. You haven't used your.
We have severally done that, but that is not to say that we've not been paying. Anytime that we've gone in to take fuel on credit, it is paid. As at when money is made available. That is what I want you to understand.
Okay, so sometimes what you do is you go and take it. When your next quarterly allocation comes, then you use it to pay off.
Exactly.
So you rob Peter to pay Paul.
When the provision delays, when the money delays, and then they are to fuel the vehicles, they can't say because the money is not available, so they will park the vehicles. When people's property might be on fire, when lives need to be.
Is that what you're counting on, Billy? Is that what you're counting on? Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no law in the country that says that these fuel stations are obliged to give fire tenders fuel anytime they want it without paying, even when they are indebted to the particular company. But you are counting on the fact that the private company would understand that someone's property is on fire and hence will give you fuel anytime your tender approaches.
Well, but I think that it shouldn't be only fire service that goes in to take fuel on credit. There are several departments that are also going in to have the same arrangement with these fuel companies. And then they also, even individual, private people also go into credit fuel. So if we are saying that there are times due to delay of the provision that we are talking of quarterly, that we have an arrangement with fuel stations to take the fuel and repay. Not that we are taking it without paying. We will definitely pay. And that is exactly what we've been doing. I don't think it's out of place for us to have this arrangement with the fuel station. I believe that's not what we are suggesting.
Billy, we wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Prince Billy Anaglate speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service. And well, this conversation will continue as far as we continue to hear of fuel shortage with some of the essential services we have here. We've heard of the police service. It started with the Ghana National Fire Service, like I told you earlier. But this the conversation we got when we contacted them. Now, when I come back, we'll continue our conversation on hospitals, or rather, we'll continue our conversation with the Ministry of Finance launching its procurement website, and what this could do for procurement here in the country, what's become of the amendment of the Procurement Act. Then we'll look at why 14,000 workers, including those at the office of the presidency, would not get their January salary because someone refused to validate. I'll be right back. Don't go away.